Hello viewers, in this video we want to look at addition and subtraction of fractions with like and unlike denominators. Recall that I mentioned that there are three methods of dealing with fractions that have unlike denominators. We have demonstrated the use of the first method, which is using common multiples of the denominators. I will want us to skip the second method, which is multiplying the denominators. It's a little bit complicated for little children or for kids. So let's go straight to the third method, which is cross multiplying. And I have outlined some steps to achieve that. Very simple steps. So as you can see on the screen, the first step when you want to use the third method of cross multiplying is 1. You multiply the denominators to get a common denominator. D times D simply means the two denominators. These fractions have unlike denominators. Now you multiply the two denominators together to get a new common denominator. After that, you cross multiply the fractions, the original fractions, to get the new numerators. Then you add the numerators, and there we go. So we are going to use some examples to do that. Here is the first example. 3 over 4 plus 1 over 3. If you could recall, we used this same example in our previous video. But let's jump straight into it. 3 over 4 plus 1 over 3. And the first step is telling us to multiply the denominators to get a new denominator. So this is how we go about it. So when we multiply 4 and 3, what we are getting is 12. 4 times 3 is 12. The second step says we should cross multiply the original fractions. Cross multiply the original fractions to get the new numerators. So this is what we are going to do. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9, while 4 times 1 is 4. So, and the third step says we should add the numerators. So 9 plus 4 is 13, all over 12. Do you recall that this was the same answer we got when we first solve this problem using the first method? Yes, this was exactly the answer that we got, and this method is so easy. I want us to do a few more examples for both addition and subtraction. We'll use the two methods, the method of finding the common denominators and the method of cross multiplying. Of course, in this case, for the previous one, we were asked to add these two fractions. In this case, we are now being asked to subtract the two fractions. And notice that these two fractions have unlike denominators. So I have repeated the question so that we can use the two methods and see if we can get the same result. In our first method, remember that of finding the common denominators. The first method is finding the LCM, the lowest common multiple. And we have done that here. Lowest common multiple. And for 4 and 3, the lowest common multiple is 12. I'm sure you still remember how we got that. The multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16. While the multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. And here we are seeing a number that is the same among the multiples of both of them. So the lowest common multiple is 12. Having gotten the lowest common multiple, we will now again have these two fractions and use that lowest common multiple. And then we will ask ourselves, what did I do to 4 to get 12? Of course, I multiply 4 by 3 to get 12. And I multiply the denominator by 3. I will also have to multiply the numerator by 3. Do you remember that from the last video? And then, in the case of this other denominator, what did I do to 3 to get 12? Of course, I multiply 3 by 4. And whatever I do to the denominator, I must also do to the numerator. So, for this new fraction, 3 times 3 here is 9 all over 12. And 1 times 4 is 4 all over 12. So since they have the same denominator, we can simply bring them together. 12, 9 minus 4. They now have the same denominator, so we bring them together. So that becomes 9 minus 4. And 9 minus 4 is 5 all over 12. This fraction is already in its simplest term, so that is the answer. Now, I want us again to try using the second method of cross multiplication for this. So what did we say are the steps for the second method of cross multiplication? The first step is multiply the denominators to get a common denominator. When we multiply the denominators, we get 12. So 12 will now be the new common denominator. Then the second step is to cross multiply the original fractions to get the new numerators. If we do that, 3 times 3 is 9. Remember, we are subtracting. 4 times 1 is 4. 9 minus 4 is 5 all over 12. So we got the same answer from both methods. Both methods are actually very easy and they produce the same answer. Still more examples to entrench our understanding of how to perform addition and subtraction on fractions. In this example, we have two fractions, 5 over 6 minus 1 over 6. Of course, as you would have realized, this is the simplest one because they have the same denominators. And if they have the same denominators, we simply said, draw a line, bring that denominator down, that common denominator, and write down the numerators. This one is 5 minus 1. These are the numerators, 5 minus 1. And what does that give us? 4 over 6. Now the only other thing we want to do here, because we can simplify this fraction further, let's do that. It's a good practice to simplify the fractions further. So I can divide the numerator by 2 to get 2, and divide the denominator also by 2 to get 3. So the answer is 2 over 3. In this example, this is very easy as well. Instead of subtraction, it is addition, and I have the same denominators. Very easy. I simply come here, draw a line, and put the denominator there, and I just carry the numerators. 5 plus 1. So 5 plus 1 is 6 all over 6. And 6 all over 6, we can simplify further. Divide the numerator by 6, I'll get 1. Denominator by 6, I'll get 1. 6 over 6 equals 1. and that is the answer. In our last example, unfortunately, they are not the same denominators. They are not the same denominators. So which method do we want to use? We've outlined two methods. Do we want to use the method of finding the lowest common multiple, or we want to use the method of cross multiplying? Let's try the method of cross multiplying, which seems to be very easy. So we multiply the denominators, and that gives us 28. 4 times 7 is 28. After that, we will cross multiply the original equations. 3 times 7 is 21, and there's a minus sign in between. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 2 is 8. So what does that give us? 21 minus 8. That gives us 13 all over 28. 13 over 28. And that's simply the answer. We've got it. So I'm sure with all these examples and the different methods, our kids will have become familiar with how to perform addition and subtraction on fractions. We explored two methods: the methods of looking for the lowest common multiple, and then the method of cross multiplying. Please, if you do like my content, don't forget to share this video. Also, please comment, like, and refer your friends to follow my page, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the next video, we will look at multiplication and division of fractions. After that, just one more video finding out the order of the fractions, which fraction is greater. And with that, we will end the topic of fractions, and hoping that our kids would have learned a lot. Please, kindly play and replay this video to your kids. They need this knowledge. They need these techniques of how to manipulate different. As they advance in their studies, they are going to need this knowledge. So these methods, they need to be at their fingertips. Thank you very much once more for stopping by.